Welcome to Contact Has Begun, brought to you by the grace of the World Puja Network, one of the last vestiges of truth concerning benevolent, spiritually, and technologically advanced off-world visitors. Some refer to these visitors as our greater family of man or returning ancient ancestors. I am James Gilliland, your host, and our guests also include cutting-edge physicists, authors, teachers, and healers dedicated to the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth. Let the journey begin. Greetings, this is James Gilliland with Contact Has Begun on the World Puja Network. We've got a great show tonight. We've got the question and answer period. A lot of people asked us to bring some more of these questions up, so we are. And we have some wonderful guests here, too, to help us with some of these answers. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn this over to our wonderful question person.
Thanks, James. The first question we have here from a listener is, are there still UFOs appearing at the ECETI Ranch? And what was the most recent activity that you've had?
There definitely is UFO activity. It's ongoing. It hasn't stopped. We're getting phenomenal photographs and footage of this activity. It's all over YouTube right now. And without any further ado, I have some guests here, and I'm going to ask each one of them to just state their first name and talk about what happened last night, just for an update on the ongoing UFO activity. So without any further ado, let's go to one of our guests.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And not 15 minutes after we got here, we saw a light in the sky, and it was traveling pretty fast, and it powered up, got really brighter, and then just powered down and took off. It was incredible.
So how would you, let's say, a lot of people say, well, that could have been a satellite or the space station or something like that. What's your feelings on that?
There's no doubt that was a UFO. There's no doubt it was traveling way too fast, and satellites do not light up that bright. Okay.
Great. All right, we've got another guest here, can talk about her experience here at the ranch, and maybe you can talk a little bit about some of you've been here for a while, so you can talk about a few of your experiences here and then lead up to what you saw last night.
Hello, my name is Marilyn. I'm from Florida, and I've been watching the sky every night for several hours for 5 or 6 nights now, and I've seen a lot of different things. Mainly, I'm surprised about how many objects are going over every night. At least 30 a night are going over, and a lot of them seem to have different qualities to them. But last night was the most spectacular of all, and made the whole trip because I drove across the country. It made it worth it. One went by and it brightened and then continued to brighten. I'd seen others power up, but this just continued and continued and continued and got so bright I actually thought I may have to turn my eyes away from it. And then it continued on across the sky, but it was really something.
All right, thank you for your testimony. We've got a couple more here that we'd like to talk about some of their experiences.
Hi, my name's Tony. I'm from Adelaide in Australia. It's my first time to the ranch, and last night was my first experience with these UFOs in this country anyhow. It was a very busy night for me. There were lots of things to watch at, but I had the binoculars on this particular one, which just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I almost thought it was just going to materialize and land in front of me. It just got so big in the binoculars. Just an amazing experience, and what more can I say? You just have to look up and see these things. It's just so easy to do.
All right, thank you for your testimony. We've got one more guest here who can talk about their experience.
Hello, my name is Nigel. I'm originally from New York. Presently, I guess, a transplant to Georgia. Been there for a while now anyway. Last night coming to the ranch was spectacular. I work around aircraft all the time, and I see how they strobe with their lights, and the objects that we saw last night definitely weren't airplanes, anything like that, because of the way that they showed very sporadic. I also had seen an aircraft or a UFO, well, people would say charge up, and it had like at least 3 or 4 stages of which it had charged up, and satellites don't do that. Aircrafts don't do that either. Stop in one spot and then keep moving again. They don't do that sort of thing. So I've seen several, at least 10 to 15 different crafts do some spectacular, kind of really weird movements and bobbing up and down, making circular motions and just outright disappearing, things like that. So it was an incredible experience, and I'm planning on definitely coming back.
All right, there we go. Another satisfied customer at the ECETI Ranch. Well, there you have it. People keep saying, there's all these rumors down that we've actually closed the ranch, or there's no UFO activity here whatsoever, or, we just hear one thing after another. But, here you just had 4 witnesses that were sitting out there last night and watched the activity, and people that work around aircraft and airplanes, and they know what they're looking at, and this is definitely unknown. It's known to us. I mean, they're IFOs to us, but to most people, these are definitely UFOs. But anyway, to move on now, let's move on to our next question, because I think we've pretty much nailed down the last one.
Thanks, James. So according to William Henry and other internationally known speakers, a large UFO flew over the ranch at the 2010 Science, Spirit, and World Transformation Conference that you recently had there in July. Can you tell us exactly what happened?
Yes, what happened there was we engaged in an intention experiment to bring them in. And we have to realize that these beings are extremely spiritually and technologically advanced beings. They're very, very telepathic. And, people need to realize that, people think that, you can't travel faster than the speed of light, and that's not true because thought travels instantaneously. And so telepathy travels instantaneously. And when you are telepathic, you can cross not just vast distances of space, but you can also, move up into the dimensions depending on your levels of attainment. So anyway, the communication is instantaneous and it's ongoing, and they're just a thought away. So we got a large group together, and about 200 people participated in this, and we did an intention experiment to bring in the UFOs. And it was also a healing circle to experience their energy. And when we started off, we first cleared out any unseen energies that aren't supposed to be there, and then we brought in the Pleiadians, we brought in the Andromedan energy for people to experience, and the whole room was just sighing and laughing. Some people were crying. Some of the masters came in for them to experience, and it's all tied together, which is a whole show in itself, because there's frescoes all over Europe, biblical frescoes with UFOs in them, some of them initiating some of the masters that we know. But anyway, to make a long story short, basically right after the experiment, we walked outside, and before I even got out the door, everybody was screaming, and this was on the 4th of July. So this very big red object rose up in the west and was just parked, sitting there. And I find this interesting because the whole town of Trout Lake basically ends up at the school for fireworks, and they have their big firework thing, there on the 4th of July. Well, this thing came up right over the school and just sat there for a while. So a lot of people just assumed it was a firework. And it parked there for a little while, just sat there, and then it took off, and it came towards us, from the west, and it was traveling east, and it flew directly over the conference building. And this thing was beautiful. To my eyes, it was kind of a pinkish orange or reddish orange, somewhere in between there. It kept kind of changing colors. Some people saw it different colors, which is kind of a usual thing. Some people will see a UFO come over and they'll see it as blue, and others people will see it as a white light, and some will see it as a yellow light. And I think that's just an individual thing that happens. But this object flew over, and luckily we had John Riley, who's a Lockheed engineer, with his camera outside. We had Renato Longato, who filmed 4 UFOs flying over the last conference. And he was there again. We got his famous saying, I got it again, so that was great. So he was there. Brooks Agnew was there. I think there was at least, I'm trying to think of who else filmed it, but there was 3 different cameras on this event. A lot of photographs were taken of it as it traversed right over the conference building. So, I would have to say, when you have the video and you have 200 eyewitnesses and this thing made no sound, it had no strobe, no running lights, it was just a brilliant, brilliant light flying overhead, it's a pretty done deal. I mean, the proof is there. I don't know how much more proof you'd need other than for them to drop off some kind of Venusian transponder or something, which is ridiculous. They're not really going to give us any more technology. We've already abused everything they've given us so far. But anyway, it's pretty much a done deal, and this is an ongoing thing happening at the ranch. So basically, William Henry was there. I was standing right next to him, and several of the other ones they're all jumping up and down like kids and exhilarated and excitement. It was just amazing, and they all turned around, a bunch of them turned around and looked at me, and I was just standing there observing it, and they go, what? They go, did you see it? And I said, oh yeah, I saw it, and they go, you see this all the time, don't you? And I said, yeah, we see it all the time. And but it is really exciting, especially when it is your first time. It's a life-changing experience, and it makes you totally reevaluate everything, when this happens.
Okay, so speaking about proof, why are a lot of the major figures in the UFO community ignoring the ongoing activity that is happening at your ranch, or even censoring it altogether?
That's an interesting question. What I have found in the UFO community, and it's a very sad thing, is there's a lot of jealousy there, and there's a lot of keep our group together, keep people thinking they have the whole pie and they have a piece of the pie, and they want everybody to revolve around their piece of the pie. And there's so many levels to the UFO field. It's an enigma, and it's very hard, to put this in one little piece of pie, or even a pie itself. Because when you're talking about UFOs, you're talking about, black ops, back engineering things. You've got abductions. You've got reptilian energies. You've got, the grays. And that's a real gray area, not to make a pun, but it is, and that area is very, there's things that are not so pleasant happening on the low-level contact arena. And then what we work with is the vast majority of contacts and what's happening on the planet, and those are the benevolent, spiritually and technologically advanced off-worlders that are better known as the greater family of man, and they're here to help us evolve. So they're not here to be worshipped. They're not here to take anything. They want for nothing. They've transcended all material need. They